Hello and welcome to the April 22 edition of the Pre-sale Pulse. Now, this is a channel dedicated to helping you understand everything that's happening in real estate across Metro Vancouver and the Fraser Valley. I'm Ryan Lalonde.
And I'm Brittany Reimer.
And if you're new to the channel, this edition of the Pre-sale Pulse is all about recapping both the pre-sale and the resale marketplace over the past 30 days in the Fraser Valley. Our goal is to ensure all of our subscribers and all of our viewers feel like they have their fingers on the pulse and becoming real estate intelligent. New listings in the Fraser Valley, they are continuing to climb for the third consecutive month. This is helping to increase overall active inventory to levels that we just haven't seen since last July. Property sales remain robust with another increase in month-over-month benchmark pricing, which is no surprise considering the fundamental issue, a lack of supply. It's what we've been talking about for almost 2 years.
Absolutely, Ryan. Before we jump into the show, we have to say the cherry blossoms are blooming, the sun is shining, spring is finally here, and we're happy for that. We are filming out of the Frame Presentation Center today. We have to recognize that. And Ryan, I have to address the elephant in the room. When we were here for the Frame Realtor event, we had a tremendous turnout, a lot of excitement from our realtor partners, but a few of them were very surprised that I was so much taller than you. And they actually accused you of maybe pumping up your chair a little bit in the boardroom. We gotta get this straight.
No, nobody flagged that, Brittany.
Oh, okay.
You're making that up.
So, Ryan, we continue to see inventory release to the market through the month of March. As expected, we saw spring break with some sales relief for buyers. Not only did we see that, but then we got back into the market at the end of the month and we saw further sales increase. So another notable highlight in March was the BC government announcement of the new cooling off period, which will be rolling out to all resale listings as early as this spring. Some really mixed feelings about this new legislation coming from the real estate community. The cooling off period is meant to allow home buyers a fair opportunity to bid on properties, similar to the 7-day rescission period, which currently exists in our industry on the pre-sale side. What's interesting is in the past, I'm not sure I can think of a time where government intervention has had a positive impact on our local market, and it still doesn't stop the fact that we have no supply in market, which has always been the true issue.
I think the biggest challenge with the new policy is that it's hard to imagine the type of impacts that it's going to have on the offer process. As long as there's a supply problem, yes, it gives some more time for consideration, but ultimately there's still the same pressures that are at bay, and those pressures are causing, in some cases, for people to think irrationally. Warmer weather, definitely, it's bringing in some heat in the pre-sale market as well. We're seeing the Fraser Valley continuing to run. Radley in Surrey City Centre, this is sold out, blending above $900 per square foot. It's a big number. And while we haven't had any formal sales numbers just yet, we're expecting to hear big things from Central Living and Prosper, the latter of which had over 1,000 home selection forms for its 65 homes. It's a really strong outcome. Quickly touching on Bosa's Parkway, with all release inventory now sold, they're now taking registrations and prepping to launch their second tower this fall.
So first up, Rye, starting in Langley with Icon by Whitetail Homes. This is a 6-story wood frame development located off the Fraser Highway and 200th Street, close to Willowbrook Shopping Centre and adjacent to Whitetail's other program, Blue Sky site. They're offering 98 homes with prices starting from the low $400,000 range, which seems very affordable and a very good entry-level price point. It is still $20,000 to $40,000 higher than their previous starting price points for their recent projects in this area, so seeing that price appreciation as expected. The project is centrally located within downtown Langley and is in proximity to a wide range of amenities, including the one-way street in downtown Langley. First floor will feature commercial space for convenience and access for the residents, which will be a great thing for that neighborhood. More commercial, more retail, really bringing the future of the downtown core of Langley to life.
It's much needed, no doubt. Up next, I think we should talk about the Langley project, Hare Town Centre by Hare Group. Now, this is a 4-story wood frame building. It's located a 10-minute walk from Willoughby Community Park. It's just off 200th Street and 76th Avenue. It's going to feature a 1/4-acre public urban green space with community amenities. They've just begun writing deals this past weekend. It's going to be really interesting to see how this product is received. Obviously comparing it to Icon.
Yeah, and I suspect that these guys are going to push. They always love to push on their price points, so expect to see that in market as well.
It's also one of the largest programs to hit Langley market in 2022. It's giving price increases that we're seeing for product in the Surrey marketplace, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And I think as you noted earlier, when we think about what's happening in the resale marketplace and certainly what's happening a little bit further west, it's hard not to imagine that you're going to see rapid price escalation in Langley.
Yeah, especially on that 200th Street corridor, which we've touched on so many times in previous Pulse episodes. So now let's stay in Langley. We're going to turn over to townhomes. Let's take a look at Newberry by Zenterra Developments. Newberry features 84 exclusive 3 to 4 bedroom homes, which is likely to attract really young families to this family-oriented area. The project is located really close in proximity to Hare Town Centre, which you just noted, located, Ryan, off 197th Street and 76th Avenue on that 200th Street corridor. With its focus on their larger unit mix and walkability to middle and secondary school, as well as the Willoughby Community Center, they are now taking registrations, and MLA and our team and our advisory department will be really monitoring their launch and timing for sales.
So turning now to South Surrey, the Bexley by Streetside Developments. This is a 64-unit townhome offering. It's located off of Highway 99 and 20th Avenue. It's the second phase to launch in Streetside's master plan community, the Burrows. The first phase, Holloway, sold out in January. We reported on that. Check out that Pulse and link below if you're interested. It hit at $530 per square foot, with prices starting at and around the low $800,000 range. Meanwhile, the Bexley will have a home starting at close to $950,000, a significant markup from previous. Now, there's some differences of unit mix, but for the most part, this is considerable price escalation. Units include 2 to 4 bedroom options with sizes kind of ranging from 1,429 up to 1,657 square feet. So certainly a little bit larger relative to what else has happened in various markets. And interestingly, the developers are really using a lottery system to allocate homes. And for those interested, you may be out of luck as registration in the lottery ended this past Sunday, April 3rd.
So, Ryan, we're going to stay in Surrey, but instead we're going to head right across town. We're excited to introduce Pura by Adira Developments in Surrey City Centre. We have been working very closely with the Adira team over the last few months, and we're excited to finally be able to share more information with our viewers, first seen here on the Pre-sale Pulse. No surprise, we've had a tremendous amount of interest already for this program, and it's really not even out of the gate yet. The project will be located right on the corner of 105th Avenue and 132nd Street in downtown Surrey. A few notable highlights for this program. This project will be Surrey's first ever smart wood building and the only mass timber project in Surrey City Centre. The program absolutely bleeds Adira quality, which we are definitely not surprised about, but excited to release more information for our viewers. The program will feature 2 buildings, with the first phase being 136 homes coming late spring, early summer. A great range of unit sizes between 1 and den, 2 and 2 and den homes, ranging in size from 474 square feet to 873.
And lastly, for those who know Adira, they also know that they fully commit to creating buildings for better lives. So this means that you can be sure that Pura, the amenity offering, is going to be top notch. Their quality and attention to detail is second to none, and one of the best, and I think one of the brightest in the Surrey marketplace coming soon. Now stay tuned for more information on this project, and be sure to hit that link button below to register at livepura.ca for first access. And in today's marketplace, we know that that is just so important if you wish to secure a home that works for you.
Okay, so it's time to turn our attention over to the resale stats. Ryan, we've been watching active supply in the Fraser Valley very, very closely. For myself, I can say it's actually been daily. Right. I'm sure for you too.
It's incredible just to follow the trends of the numbers,
yeah.
Right? And right now they're telling a very strong story.
Absolutely. So if our listeners remember, the Valley faced huge supply challenges over the winter season with record levels of low inventory. But good news for buyers currently in the market is that March, we saw the 3rd consecutive month of significant increases in new listings available. The board reported about 4,600 new listings in March, which is down 10% from March of 2021, but up 22.4% from February of this year. A great sign for supply. Also shows quite a bit of stability in the marketplace if those sales are still keeping up to pace with those listings.
Right. The challenge, though, is that even with 3 months of increases, we're still not quite out of the supply side quagmire just yet. Now, we're seeing that demand remains very robust, with buyers moving quickly to take advantage of the increased selection of homes. It also seems that buyers are feeling some pressure with rising rates, and this is having a whiplash impact on the market. March saw just under 2,600 transactions, which is 41% increase from the previous month of February. With all that talk of rate increases recently, it's possible many buyers have been watching on the sidelines and now racing to lock in those rates, which are still favorable. And the other thing that's quite interesting is that the majority of the marketplace, for the first time in almost 2 years, had an opportunity to travel through spring break. So when we think about those increases in transactions, we have to recognize that much of that happened with significant numbers of locals out of the marketplace traveling with family.
Absolutely, Ryan. And when we think about the March market, we have to also keep in mind there are buyers that fought through December, January, February for homes. They couldn't get in due to multiple offers. We know that that has come down. We know that instead of 15 offers on a property, now we're dealing with 1 or 2. So I would expect that we would have seen the same type of price appreciation through the month of March that we saw. But that said, that buyer pool is starting to feel like it is cooling off. So we'll be keeping a very close eye on this over the next 60 days here.
Now, speaking of buyers locking in homes, let's take a quick look at where prices are now. So after the Fraser Valley reached price parity with the Greater Vancouver market for the first time last month, and for the first time ever, it's a significant increase in price. over the last 12 months in that marketplace. Many of our viewers have been eagerly watching to see how the market might shift from there. While prices and appreciation that slowed since last month, which still saw monthly gains on price point across almost every single product type and neighborhood, showing us that stamina of this current marketplace is still there. Now, detached townhomes and condo products saw 3.4%, 5.4%, and 4.6% month-over-month increases on the benchmark price. What that means is that all those in the last 30 days have risen significantly. There's another 5% increase in pricing for condos and almost 6% on townhouses. These are huge numbers.
So Ryan, let's finally wrap it up here. Let's take a peek at the sales to listing ratios. While the listings available have been steadily increased, as we mentioned earlier, demand and sales activity have also been keeping up. Following the drop from the all-time high in December of 98%, the sales to listing ratio has essentially held steady since January, hovering around that 60% period. We saw this drop a little bit during spring break. I was keeping a close eye on it, more in that 50% range, but then by the end of the month really bounced back. Condo product continues to feel a crunch in the Fraser Valley with a sales to listing ratio in the 90s. So we know that there is still no inventory right across the board in the valley, and that has caused that sales to listing ratio for condos to continue to stay steadily in the 90s. That 90s is a very, very high number.
And very much in line with our predictions at the early part of last year, right? Previous to that, we saw single family and townhouses being very active marketplaces. Our expectation would be that would ease, which it has slightly, and that we'd see a large push towards condo properties, primarily because they provide a higher degree of affordability, and they were relatively inactive in the previous months leading up to those recommendations. Now, with all that being said, I believe that wraps up the April edition of the Fraser Valley Pre-sale Pulse. Now, if you found some value in today's episode, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel and our newswire. This is our daily email roundup of the latest real estate news. Subscribers get early access to Pre-sale Pulse, market insights, and the latest projects breaking ground, like Pura. Now, MLA Advisory will continue to play a significant role in every major market across Canada, so if you're in search of a market perspective, or you're just looking for a second opinion, contact us by visiting any of the links below.
And lastly, we want to hear from you. Leave a comment below if you have any questions or want us to speak about any trends or insights not mentioned in today's episode. We really, truly do enjoy hearing from our peers and want to ensure that the Pre-sale Pulse is your preeminent source of real estate intelligence.
Thanks to all of our viewers for tuning in, and looking forward to seeing you next month.